Democrats held a celebration today for the tax refunds they tried to kill. The governor keeps ducking questions about a top administration official with a history of abusive behavior. We got our hands on internal emails showing how a city tried to explain away the shooting death of an innocent man. How to connect people in need of mental health help with the right person. A mountain town gets creative to get hikers to behave.
It catches your eye. When people are passing by, it's going to turn their head and grab their attention.
And a school district's wonderful idea to keep its teachers from spending their own money on school supplies got us thinking. We could help with that. So we will. Next. Colorado's elected Democrats sure seem relieved that they didn't succeed in killing the taxpayer Bill of Rights refunds, because this year they get to celebrate them during election season. Democrats have tried to rebrand those refund checks that are in the mail to you now. Politics guy Marshall Zellinger explains why it matters that you know where these checks are coming from, because it's your money.
TABOR is kind of a bad word for Democrats. It's the constitutional restraint on state spending based on an equation of inflation and population. Everything over that limit needs to be refunded back to Coloradans. The $750 or $1,500 check you're getting in the mail starting this month is part of your TABOR refund. A TABOR refund Democrats, like Governor Jared Polis, are trying to rebrand.
Colorado cash back checks are already in the mail system.
That made-up term was used in the governor's news conference 3 times as much as the real term, TABOR.
Colorado cashback.
Colorado cashback.
Colorado cashback.
Colorado cashback plan.
Colorado cashback.
Colorado cashback.
And the cashback.
Colorado cashback.
Your Colorado cashback.
The Colorado cashback plan.
Visit Colorado cashback.
Colorado cashback.
Colorado
plan.
cashback.com.
Cashback.
Colorado cashback is a TABOR refund.
TABOR
refunds.
Here's why it matters. In 2019, Polis supported and signed a bill that put Proposition CC on the ballot. CC asked voters to let the state keep future TABOR refunds, like the money you're about to get. Voters said no. Not only do we get the TABOR refund still, Polis talked about increasing the amount of the refund because of tax bills he signed last year.
How is it transparent to, A, not call it a TABOR refund, and B, not say, this is money I would rather the state keep, and I added to that, and I'd rather keep that too, but I have to give it back to you?
So first of all, as I think 2 or 3 of us up here have said, including me, this is one of the TABOR refund mechanisms.
No, that was actually the first time Polis said TABOR in this news conference, but I digress. He said even if CC had passed and voters let the state keep TABOR refunds, he would want to send this money back as a stimulus.
Had CC passed, we could fund the $750 refund to everybody. It would be out of one-time money we had. We would have sent it out. The money would still be there. The money doesn't disappear.
Democratic State Representative Tony Exum was not afraid to say the word TABOR, but believes it does not matter to the Coloradans waiting to get paid.
They just want us to show them the money. They don't really care about the mechanisms and whatnot. They just want to see the checks.
This is not your complete TABOR refund. There will be more coming next year when you file your taxes, when we normally get TABOR refunds. I showed a game of Taboropoly last week that shows how much you're getting, and that because of the $750 check, low-income earners are going to get more, and high-income earners will get fewer dollars than they would have. Kyle, there are other methods of issuing TABOR refunds, like an income tax rate reduction that will happen, that everyone will experience as well. But this thing that we're getting this month is one part of it that was done purposefully to get it early.
The danger, if it isn't obvious here for Democrats, is that if people really like and appreciate this refund check and realize that it's the taxpayer Bill of Rights making it happen, they might not be so quick to help Democrats kill it in the future.
I asked if the governor was on board with TABOR now, and he says he likes the part where we have to vote on tax increases, but the part that inflation raises higher faster than the state budget can keep up with it. So we might have a problem next year because inflation is high and the state budget can only go up so much based on last year's inflation. That's where it gets messy, and that's something Democrats would still like to work on.
Yeah, TABOR has a lot of different consequences for the state. It's a lot more than just these checks. Marshall, thank you. Governor Polis continues to dodge questions about the abusive and threatening behavior of one of his top administration officials. Emergency Management Chief Mike Willis was suspended for unprofessional and threatening behavior toward coworkers. Today, the governor avoided answering a question about when he learned of Willis's behavior. Should tell you, there were some audio issues with the governor's answer at this news conference. It does not particularly matter because, again, the governor would not answer the question about when he learned about the allegations.
Personnel matters in our state, 31,000 person workforce, are handled at the agency level. They should be. Our department heads handle these matters according to our procedures, fairly. We follow appropriate procedures. There's not, interference from the governor's office. It's already been reported. This agency, and I'm glad that they're doing this, is already committed to hiring an outside consultant to evaluate their culture issues that might exist there. Effectiveness. My priority as governor to make sure that we have a division that can respond effectively to emergencies and disasters, and of course that our state personnel policies are followed.
You know, the governor there was reading from a prepared statement. The governor's administration has launched a full-fledged defense of Mike Willis last week after his history of abusive behavior became public. The state's top public safety official, Willis's boss, even said privately that this was a legal liability for the state of Colorado because it had gone on for so long. The Polis administration is now hiring an outside group to perform a workplace assessment. The city of Inglewood's internal emails reveal more than the city wants the public to know right now about a police shooting that left a man dead. Inglewood police still will not say if they shot someone they did not intend to shoot and kill. July 24th, Inglewood police were called to a home where they say they were shot at by someone inside. They returned fire. They then arrested the guy who shot at them. He survived, but the man's brother was found shot dead inside the home. We filed an open records request to obtain emails from the city of Inglewood. In one of them, the city manager talks about publicly releasing police body camera video last weekend. That came and went. It never happened. The city manager wrote, quote, "Police leadership is confident that the footage will help the public understand the chaotic nature of the incident and the difficulty in reaching a definitive conclusion." Emails also reveal that the mayor's cringeworthy public statement telling people to move forward after the shooting was actually prepared for him by the city manager. The city has blacked out certain portions of some of the emails, citing attorney-client privilege and also pointing to a judge's gag order. The gag order only covers lawyers and law enforcement. The gag order does not cover Inglewood's elected leaders and their city staff. When a public agency chooses to make a redaction like that for an open records request, one that may violate the law, it's up to the journalists who have requested the record to decide whether we want to eventually take it to court. Congress heard today about how Colorado's election workers are being threatened by conspiracy theorists. The Senate Judiciary Committee held a hearing today on the danger to election workers across the country. They heard specifically from Matt Crane, director of Colorado's County Clerks Association. Crane said a survey of the county clerks in our state found that a quarter of them had increased security at their offices in some way, like securing entrances or adding tinted bulletproof glass. Crane pointed out the obvious. Conspiracy theorists are targeting their own neighbors.
It's our church members, it's our Elks Lodge members, it's the PTA. These are the people that are actually conducting the elections. People are trying to get the information, the names and addresses and telephone numbers of these citizen election workers so that they can put pressure on them, intimidate them. And it has had a chilling effect on their willingness to participate. We're here in large part because of failure of leadership. If people would just stand up and tell the truth on both sides of the aisle, we'd be much better off.
Democratic Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois actually said something about the situation in Colorado that we had not heard previously, information that must have been given to the committee, that there is a county clerk in Colorado in such fear that that clerk is wearing a bulletproof vest to the job. Election denier Tina Peters' $250,000 recount seems to be going well for her. Colorado's most populous county and the largest source of GOP votes, El Paso County, just finished the recount of the Republican Secretary of State primary. Peters, remember, has to make up an 88,000 vote gap. In El Paso County, Peters gained 1 vote. Her opponents each gained 2 votes. So Tina Peters is currently losing by even more votes than before. It's back to school time for Colorado students, which inevitably means that teachers and other school staff will again be paying out of their own pockets for things that their students' families can't afford. We don't pay teachers enough to ask them to do that, so we can help. Your Word of Thanks microgiving campaign this week will provide school supplies for Aurora Public Schools Educator Emporium. It's basically a school supply store filled with new materials, and it's a place where Aurora Schools educators can shop for free throughout the school year for whatever their students and classrooms need. Teachers from 50 schools across the district came in last year to shop. They often came in mid-year to find school supplies for new students or to replace what students' families couldn't afford to purchase partway through the year. 3/4 of Aurora students get free or reduced cost lunch, so we know that the need in that particular district is high. The folks behind the Educator Emporium estimated that educators are spending an average of $750 of their own money on school supplies for their classrooms. So let's stock up this store so that there's no chance that they're going to run out of supplies that students will need in Aurora during this school year. Scan the QR code on the screen or text the word THANKS to 303-871-1491. You have proven over the last 2 years that even $5 donations add up fast, and I will never ask you to give if I don't, so I'll match the first 50 donations of $5. Here's our chance to just take one district, take Aurora, and show the students, the families, and the teachers especially that we want them to have a successful school year despite any challenges. Our neighbors needing help during a mental health crisis may not be getting connected to the right people. Smart signs and sass, two things we love around here.
It's just a fun way to keep the messaging fresh.
Breck hopes new trail signs will help hikers behave. And the most Colorado thing we saw today is a happy homecoming for a talented guy. That's next. In a place with as many transplants as Colorado has, it's pretty common for people to have out-of-state area codes on their phones. That becomes an issue, though, with the new 988. It's 911 for mental health help. Dial 988 and it routes you to localized help based on your area code. So there are Coloradans who are getting routed out of state during a moment of crisis. Our Anusha Roy looks at what is not a new concern.
The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline.
It's been set up that way since 2004.
That's how long this specific helpline, now known as 988, has routed people to help based off area code.
Try to meet the caller where they're at.
Eric Jacobson, a crisis specialist based here in Colorado, has helped people with Colorado area codes but don't live here.
A lot of people call Lifeline and a lot of people call 988. They aren't looking for kind of on-the-ground support. They just want someone to talk to. And we can do that.
But if that person needs to be connected with longer-term help, it's harder because the folks in Colorado don't have those connections and resources readily available in other states.
We're looking to kind of connect with somebody on the ground. I'm probably not the best person to talk to. However, I would love to try to connect you with a crisis call center in your state.
The scenario is only expected to increase as more people use 988, which is why some people are asking why not use similar technology as 911, relying on cell towers or GPS data to connect to local help. It's been discussed for years.
The funding wasn't available and for this capacity, but also that I don't think it was widely understood.
AKA, it wasn't a top priority. Bev Marquez, the CEO of Rocky Mountain Crisis Partners, says that could be changing.
Making the decision to turn it on is where, is the time that it's taking.
While there are benefits to using this technology, like connecting to local help and emergency resources and call centers predicting their volume, others are worried about privacy.
Somewhat substantial chunk of our callers want to remain anonymous.
And the function of 988 and 911 in many ways are different.
Somebody calls 911. The intention is to have somebody come to you. 988, we are trying to implement what's called the least restrictive intervention.
For Next, I'm Anusha Roy.
Decision. They've acknowledged the need for improvement on it. The FCC said it's exploring options, did not give specific details. If you text 988 for help, then you're prompted to enter your zip code and you will get connected locally. Same goes if you call or text Colorado Crisis Services.
Believe it or not, we had a little cold front push across the Front Range early this morning. It dropped off our temperatures a little bit. We'll take it, right? We're in the lower 90s across the Denver metro area, mid-90s off to the eastern plains, some 70s with a few more clouds up into the high country as well as a few storms too. Kind of some dark skies across parts of Fort Collins, and then you have bright blue skies and some sunshine too. There's that little cell just to the south of the city. Here in the metro area, we haven't seen much. Further to the south toward Castle Rock, some light scattered showers, and those are going to all move out overnight. Some sunshine moving back in early tomorrow. Storms are going to be isolated once again. If we do find them, they'll be in far south central Colorado. Tomorrow, daytime highs back to the mid to upper 90s, and then we continue to climb with a better chance of storms and a little cool off coming our way for the weekend. We're back after this.
You know we're nerds about signs around here, all the attention-getting ways that we navigate our world. I like the town of Breckenridge's approach.
So we have a large contingency of people that recreate in our trail network, largely hikers, bikers, and dog walkers.
There can be some conflict or potential conflict between user groups or maybe within the same user group. That is Joel Dukes.
Sure.
He's the Town of Breckenridge Open Space Operations Lead. He's definitely the side guy.
Nugget's the official trail mascot. She got on the crew when she was about 9 weeks old.
I'm Nikki LaRochelle. I'm a local here in Breckenridge. I'm a graphic designer.
She had a major part in designing the etiquette trail signage that we have in our network.
The town of Breckenridge put up some specific etiquette signage, little like woodland creatures to try to capture people's attention, and we use a little sass to also capture people's attention. We've got a sloth that says slow your roll, a bunny encouraging people, just reminding them that we're trying to be really nice out here in Breckenridge. We've got a greyhound running that says no one cares about your Strava.
It catches your eye. When people are passing by, it's going to turn their head and grab their attention, and to convey the etiquette that we want to provide.
Have a nice day.
Have fun. I'd say they work pretty well.
This is a nice convergence of so many trails.
I know.
Just trying to keep people kind-hearted, working together cohesively to enjoy our trail system.
The most Colorado thing we saw today is a kid from Arvada getting a chance to play for the Denver Broncos. Max Borghi's going to work out for the Broncos. You remember him, he's the running back, absolute stud when he was at Pomona. He scored 27 touchdowns as a senior. He went on to play his college ball at Washington State. He did not end up getting drafted. My favorite story about Max Borghi is what he did when the NCAA began allowing student athletes to make money off of sponsorships and stuff like that. Max partnered up with Cameo, that site where celebrities make personalized videos, and he said he was going to give all of the money he made to his offensive linemen. Got tonight's feedback in person this morning, and you know what? It gave me hope. That's next. Aurora's teachers are spending an estimated $750 out of their own pocket each year to pay for school supplies for their kids. The nonprofit foundation that supports the district's programs has set up this store where educators can go in and shop for those items for free. Let's stock the thing up for the school year. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word THANKS to 303-871-1491 to join me in donating to the Aurora Public Schools Educator Emporium. It's a place where educators can pick up for free the stuff that their students are going to need throughout the school year. It opened today. It's going to be open all year long. In a high-need district like Aurora, this is, well, in the words of one of their teachers, amazing. Different kind of feedback for you tonight. It was actually something I heard in person this morning. I was speaking with a group of high school civics teachers at a conference put on by the Colorado Center for Civic Learning and Engagement. We were talking about the importance of truth and media literacy to our society. And the teachers were telling me that their students, the next generation, skeptical, curious, much more ready to challenge the misinformation that perhaps their parents have fallen for so badly. Gives you hope.